Hi, uh, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes,
Fine. So we'll start. Whoever will be joining, let them join. Mm, Fine. I have started the recording. I think in the last recording there is some issue in between. The screen has got bifurcated. Aditya told me. So I'll see if I can resolve it, or else I will record it. Okay. Mm, I hope this also will be again an interactive class, not a one-way class. Prashant, you're there.
Yes.
You had some work, right?
Something is going on.
Okay, you're sitting both places.
Yes.
Fine, fine. So, can you just give me a quick revision of what all we have done in last class? Because we'll be using it a lot and we will be writing lots of programs today. I'll tell you techniques of how do you write your own programs.
variables, data types, keywords, comments.
Okay, one at a time. Okay, variables, then we store data types. So you know what are variables, right? What analogy I had given you all to for variables?
Glass and bottle.
Like vessels, I will say. Okay, then we studied about data types also, right? So you know what is the data type? Come on, what is the data type?
Strings, all are data types.
Yeah. Those all are different types of data types. But what is actually a data type? What's the use of data type? If you ever forget that, right, just think like this. What is a variable? Variable is like a vessel, right? I've already told
Each
you.
to some value.
Sorry, what are you telling?
Each some value.
I'm not getting it. Snell, I did not get what you
Each to
said.
some value.
Yeah, you are saying something, no? Used to store a value. Okay, so what actually it is nothing but it defines what type of value you want to store inside the vessel. Okay, so if you have a vessel, then which type of value you are going to store inside the vessel, whether you are going to store solid, whether you are going to store liquid, whether you are going to store a gas, all those kind of stuff. Okay, that is actually a data type. What data type is? Simplest words, variable is like a vessel. What type of value you are going to put inside that vessel, basically the data type tells that. Data type basically defines what type of value you are going to store inside this variable. Okay, these two are related. So I told you, right, like this is a glass, and what type of value store inside this glass is actually maybe water, right? So the water is actually a liquid, right? So I can say that liquid is actually a data type.
Screen is not visible.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay, so the type of the type of value you're going to store inside this glass, right? Usually, inside a glass, you'll be storing only liquids, right? So that is actually a data type. Liquid is a data type. Solid is a data type. Gas is a data type. Okay. Then we studied about all this kind of stuff. You studied about comments. What are comments? Comments in any programming language remains the same. Okay. What's the use of comments? Come on, what are comments in your own words? Like I don't want. Prashant.
Like it gives the idea to the whoever who is reading the program. It gives the idea to him that what kind of like meaning the program line is making.
Yes, completely true. Okay, that is the use of comments, what he told. So it is actually not executed by compiler. Okay, this does not run. These lines of program what you write, right, comments are those lines of program which are not executed by compiler. So compiler will skip those lines. Okay, these are just for human beings. Comments are just for human beings to read the program. For human beings, so they can read the program in more better way. Human beings can read program properly, well. Okay, if you don't write comments, then it will be little bit difficult to read, because you may use lots of complex logic which I might not understand, or some other programmer might not understand, which you have written. So usually you can write those comments stating like what that program line does. Okay, it's a good habit to write comments. Okay, so fourth one, what we studied after this? Variables, data types, comments. Yes, after this,
Input function.
very important, we studied input function. How do you take input in Python? Input in Python. Okay, and before this all stuff what you are telling, right, 1 2 3 4 4, we have studied lots of a very important concept. What is that? After we studied, I think in the next half all these things, but first half at least we spent in studying something else. What was that? Aditi, are there? No?
Yes.
What was that then? What you studied in first half? I think it was a 2 hours class, right? So 1 hour we studied lots of dash things. Then next hour we studied all this kind of stuff.
Function call and function definition.
Exactly. So all about functions. We will be studying again more in depth about functions afterwards, but we studied about functions itself. So tell me, how many different types of functions will be there? What exactly is a function?
Actual code that you write.
Yes, it is code itself, or it is program
Small
itself, but
block of code.
yes, I can consider it as a small block of code. I think I had shown you all one example, right? In one of my file I had opened and I had showed you all that whole file, this much big file was there, but in that file we had created small parts of that file. Small programs we have written inside one file, and those small programs what we have written inside that file, right, those are called as functions. And the whole program is the whole code what you have written, right, that is called as one program. And one program can contain multiple small programs. Those programs are called as functions. Can you tell me one? Let's talk about the advantages of functions and all afterwards, when we will be diving deep into functions. Now can you tell me what are the different types of functions that are available?
User defined function, built-in function.
User defined function, built-in function. Correct, completely correct. You missed a very important point about functions. It is actually a small block of code. Yes, but there is a very key important point which is missed.
But it will be executed only when we call the function.
Exactly. That block of code or that small part of the program will be executed only and only when it is called, or else it will never be executed. I think we saw this with an example also that day. I ran some code and also showed you these things, right? So tell me, what is actually a user defined function? And can someone tell me some examples of user defined functions?
Which user defines it and calls it.
Okay, so user defines it. User you mean to say who? User, when I say user, you mean to say who? We or the programmers. Okay, so the programmer has defined so every function will have these two parts. Okay, that is function definition and function call. Also I've spoken about this point in the last lecture, right? Every whatever function will be there, right, will have these two parts of it. So these two parts are nothing but function definition. One is function definition and one is function call. So in user defined, what will be there, and in built-in functions, what will be there? You tell me.
In user function definition function called both, and building only function called is-
Only function call will be there. Yes, correct. So can you tell me some examples of user defined, some examples for this one built-in?
define some name in bracket
Which keyword you actually use to create
def
the function
d
definition? Def,
def def
def, yes, def, correct. So that is one example which you told for whatever you can name it. Okay, so an example for user defined function can be anything, because you create it on your own, right? So you can write whatever you want. Tell me an example for built-in function. Example for
Def
built-in function. Sorry?
scanf or
def
of
Printf, scanf. We are studying Python.
no some def some name and call.
No, 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 no. I am asking some examples for built-in functions.
input of print
Input function, print function, all these are examples for built-in functions. Now in built-in functions, actually when you write printf, I hope you have understood that actually we are calling the function, not defining the function. If you watch the whole last class, no, you will get it completely, I feel. So when you are writing printf, you are actually not defining a function, but you are actually calling a function. I am correct, right? I hope I am correct what I said. When I am writing print and something, that time I am calling a function or defining a function?
Calling a function.
Calling a function. Okay. How do you understand whether it's a function definition?
when it is defined and then called.
How do you understand it is defined or not? In
Def
Python, how do you understand?
when we use def
Def keyword is used.
Exactly. Def keyword is used. Def keyword is used. That means there is a function definition that is going on. I properly explained all these things, right? What is definition? What is function call and all those kind of stuff. So I think that you have some good knowledge now, basically to go ahead. Okay. So that was just a small revision. I thought that you must have forgotten. After a long period of time we have met, so I just thought to do a quick revision. Okay. So today what we'll be doing is we'll be learning lots of stuff, as well as what we'll do is we'll try to build some projects today. Okay, small programs, but I'll give you the idea, or how do you think when you want to write any program that is given to you. Okay, so what we'll do is, first of all, we will study few things. Like, first of all, we'll study operators. Okay, then I'll also tell you more about data types and more about variables also. Okay, so let's study about operators first. Okay, what are operators? You have done some maths calculation before, right? So you have some mathematical operators, right? If you want to add two things, you will be using plus sign. If you want to, you have your calculator, right? So all those operators which are there on that calculator is one is plus is there, equal to is there, then we have minus, we have multiplication, we have division. Usually these four are there. More important operations that are available, right? We can perform division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. So if you want to do these all things itself in the program, for that purpose we have some every programming language will give something called as operators, which you can use. These operators can be used to perform any calculation part. Okay, so if you want to perform any mathematical calculation part, you can use something called as operators. So same thing, you have these operators like I'll tell you, just you have plus sign, okay, which is used to add two numbers. Okay, so you have minus sign, which is used to subtract two numbers. If you want to multiply two numbers, actually you don't have a multiplication sign, so you will be using star, okay, to multiply. Then you have division symbol, basically to divide. Okay, this is used to add two numbers, this is used to subtract two numbers, this is used to multiply two numbers, multiply two numbers, and this is basically used for division of two numbers. Okay, there is one more operator which is also called as star. Okay, star basically means that power. power. Okay, for example, if you want to write 2 power 3 in programming language, if you want to write this in calculator, you can easily do it, right? So how do you do 2 power 3 in calculator? Is nothing but you write something like this. I feel 2 into 2 into 2, something like this you do, right? Hello, you're there?
Yes.
Yes.
So something like this itself you do, I feel, if I am not good, if I am not
Yes.
wrong. I am little bit poor at math, so I hope you will help correct me if I went somewhere wrong. If you want to find 3 cube, right, you will do 3 into 3 into 3, something like this. How to do it in programming or how to do it in Python? So this is actually the operator, double star, power operator. You can do something like this. If you want to do 2 power 3, then you can write like this 2, then you can put this double star and then you can write 3. So this is actually equivalent to 2 power 3. Does that sound simple? Is it clear what I told? If you want to put a power, you can put 2 double star. Double star is the operator which is used for power. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So there are lots of other operators also that are available. These whatever you saw, right, these are actually called as mathematical operators. Mathematical operators, okay, and these operators also have something called as priority. Every operator will come with a word which is called as priority. Remember this, this is very important point. Every operator will have something called as priority. What is this priority? Priority basically means that whenever you have multiple operators, something like this, let's say I'll give you an expression something like this, 3 plus 2 star 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 3. Now if I give you this, how computer will basically find the answer of this? Tell me first of all, how will you, as a human being, how will you find the answer of this? Okay, just tell me how will you find the answer of this if I give you this question. What is the
2
answer
cube
of this?
8 plus 3 11.
2 cube 8. Okay, 8 plus 3, that is equal to 11. But Prashant, why did you do actually 2 cube first? You could have done something like this, right? 3 plus 2, 5. Then 5 and star star 3. 5 raised to 3, that is actually 125. You could have done like this. You got a different answer here. You got a different answer here. Why did you do that?
Yes, because but we have some priorities,
Rules.
rules, set of protocols.
Some rules or some set of protocols are there for solving an expressions, right, that this has some higher priority. So what are those? One of that rule is that whichever operator has that higher priority, right, higher precedence is there. This priority or precedence, it is called as PRECEDENCE, precedence of operators, one and the same. Okay.
Precedence rules. Yes.
Yes, precedence rules. So the first rule, first priority is basically given to this one. Okay, star star operator. So first, wherever you see an expression, you should always evaluate star star. Then it is basically this multiplication and division which has this almost same priority, and then we have this addition and this one. Okay, before all these operators, you have one more operator which is called as this. This, whenever you see bracket, right, bracket is given the highest priority. Okay, so if it is something like this, let's take a new expression. Something like this, maybe 2 star star 5 plus 2. Now something like this, if it is there. Now don't do 2 star star 2 raised to 5. Don't do 2 raised to 5 plus 2. This is wrong. You know why? Because the highest priority comes for brackets. Wherever you see brackets, first the brackets part should be evaluated, and computer also does the same thing. First it basically solves the brackets, and then it basically solves the operators one. So what is the answer of this? You will not be able to, I think you should be able to do power 7.
256.
I think it is 256, or I think 2 power 8 is 256. 2 power 7 is 256 divided by 2, that is
128.
128. So is this clear what I told? There is something concept which is called as precedence of operators in this one, the whole programming. Okay, I hope that is clear. So there are lots of other operators that are available. These what I told are just like mathematical operators and some brackets and all those kind of stuff, but lots of other operators that are available. One of that operators is basically logical operators. Bitwise operators also are there, which does bit manipulation. So I will not talk about bitwise operators right now, but we can speak about that some other class. But logical operators are there. Logical operators means and is there, and then not is there, and or is there, or. Okay, so this is called as like and, this is called as not, this is called as or. Okay, so these are some operators which you can use if you want to perform some logical operations. Okay, like if you want to do, just check whether this is also true or this is also true, both are true or not, if either one of that is false or not, if it is not equal to or what, if maybe 2 is not equal to 5 and all those kind of stuff. So you have this logical operators. We'll just speak about operators, we'll see how to use it when it can be used afterwards. Okay, when we solve some examples, so you will understand that. But and or not in Python, just remember this line. In Python you will not, you don't have actually these operators. Instead of that you should use these words. If you want to use and you can use directly the word and. If you want to use not, you can directly use the word not. If you want to use or, you can directly use the word or. Okay, so instead of these operators, you directly have these English letters in Python. Okay, directly you can use these English letters. So there are something called as bitwise operators also. Okay, I will not talk about bitwise operators. They are used for bit manipulation. Okay, so what actually happens here? Okay, if you're doing something like this, let's say a equals to 4. Let's say if you're doing something like this, a equals to 4. Now actually what is happening here? First of all, Python is a statically typed programming language or dynamically typed programming language?
Dynamic.
How do you understand that? Have you understood, Aditi? It is dynamic. मी सांगितलं म्हणून. Come on, it's very simple. The answer is there in front of you itself. See this block, you will understand. Have I declared the data type here?
No.
No. That means it is automatically taking the data type, no?
Yes. Dynamic.
So only basically you understand that it is data dynamic. Statically type means what? You will statically type the data types and all. So a is equals to 4. This is what I have written. What actually happens in the computer when you write a equals to 4? See here, this is about variables. We are talking in depth about variables. Okay, what exactly happens inside the computer? I'll speak more about this when we talk about classes and objects. Okay, exactly, this is a reference variable which is pointing towards an object which is 4. 4 is actually an object. What is an object? What is a reference variable? How actually it points? Where this object will be stored in the heap memory? Where this reference variable will be stored in the stack memory? All these kind of things I will be talking afterwards, not now. That's not important right now. But what to understand is, when I write a is equals to 4, what happens is inside your hard disk, or let's talk about RAM, okay, whatever, inside your memory, what I want to tell you is inside your memory, computer memory, you might be having 2 GB RAM, 4 GB RAM, or you might be having 1 TB hard disk, and also inside your memory, especially RAM, this value 4 will be stored. This value 4 will be actually stored inside the memory. So I'll just do a representation. Okay, like let's consider that this box is a memory. Okay, so this value will be somewhere stored inside this memory RAM 4, something like this. It will be stored. Okay, so it will not be actually stored like this because computer cannot understand numbers. It can understand only binary. Okay, so it will not be stored like this. The way it will be stored is something like this. Let's consider this is the memory, and this is a memory block or a small part of the memory that is allocated to store this variable a. Okay, so the interpreter or the compiler, whoever is there, right, it will allocate some part of the memory based upon the variable it will allocate some bytes of memory. Okay, so let's talk about little bit of this when I use this word byte. What is the meaning of bit? Come on, first, what is the meaning of bit? What is the meaning of byte? It is 1
1.
or 0. And byte basically means 8 bits. Okay, what is the meaning of 1 and 0? See, we already know that computer is understanding only 0 and 1. We already know this, right? Computer understands only 0 and 1. So the smallest part which computer can understand can be either 0 or 1. Computer understands only 0 and 1. So the smallest part of 0 and 1 can be either 0 or either 1. So it can be either of this, right? It can be 0 or 1, 0 or 1, whatever. So what I want to tell you is basically that computer understands only 0 and 1. The smallest part of a binary what is the smallest binary digit? Okay, you may say 0 or 1. Okay, so don't think 1 is a greater number. So 0 or 1 is basically the binary numbers, right? So a bit in computers language, we call this 0 or 1, whatever, either 0 or either 1. Both this 0 or 1 is called as actually a bit. Just they have given some name, that's it. Okay, and when you arrange this bits, 8 bits if you keep in order, it is called actually a byte. Okay, very simple. Each digit is called as in computer understands only 2 digits, that is 0 and 1. Each digit is called as a bit. That digit can be either 0 or 1, it is called as a bit. And when you arrange that bits, when you arrange those bits, 8 bits in order, when you arrange 8 bits in order, it is actually called as a byte. It's very simple. When you arrange 8 bits in order, it is actually called as a byte. For one example, for byte can be 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So this is an example for a byte. Why this is an example for byte? Because here each digit is called as a bit, and I have arranged 8 bits in order. That is called as a byte. Okay. So I hope bit and byte is clear. If bit and byte is clear, the actually this data, whatever you are storing inside a variable, right, that is actually stored in the form of bits and bytes itself, in the form of bits itself. Okay, so if you want to store 4 inside your memory, inside your RAM, so your compiler or your interpreter will allocate some part of the memory to store this number 4, but number 4 cannot be stored directly on the computer because computer understands only binary. So this 4 will be actually stored how? 4 will be converted to binary first. What is the binary equivalent of 4? Come on fast. Binary equivalent of 4.
100.
You all know, no? What am I talking? Does it make sense, Aditya? Snail? Neha?
Yes.
Neha, you are understanding? I hope you are there. Okay, so this is actually the binary equivalent of 4, right? So in the memory, it is stored something like this, 100. This way it will be stored. In binary only it will be stored. Okay, so this is how actually a variable, when you create a variable, right, this is what happens behind the scene. It looks simple for you, you just directly wrote a equals to 4, but nothing happened like that inside the memory. It happens in a different way, as I told you here. This is how it basically happens. Okay, I hope you understood all this kind of stuff. Now what I want to tell you is that every data type will be allocated with some different size of memory, with different sizes of memory. Okay, it is very simple. I am sorry for this typo. What do I mean is memory. Every data type will be allocated with some different size of memory. For example, what do I mean by this? When I have written this, what does exactly this means? Okay, I mean something like this. If you write a is equals to 5, okay, does a Python understand that a is storing which type of data? In a is actually a variable name, right?
Yes.
A is actually a variable name. Okay,
Yes.
a is storing which type of data?
Integer.
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 Does Python understand this automatically?
Yes.
Yes, without writing data type, yes, it understands because it's a dynamically typed programming
Dynamic.
language. Okay, so it understands integer. So it knows that to store integer, we'll allocate some types, some size of data. Okay, for integer, it allocates 4 bytes of
Integer.
data. 4 bytes of data. Okay, so if it is a float, okay, again it allocates 4 bytes of data. So there is one more data type which is called as long. Sure, these are not available in Python, but it's are available in statically typed programming languages like Java, C, and all those kind of stuff. Long is there. Then there is one more data type which is short. There is one more data type which is called as double. Okay, there is string and all those kind of string you already know, but long is allocated with some 8 bytes of place inside the memory. Short is allocated with some 2 bytes, I think. I'm not sure, but for short, but I think mostly 2 bytes. Short. Double is allocated with 8 bytes of size inside the memory. Okay, string depends upon, again, this one actually character is allocated with 1 byte, but string is allocated depends upon the size of the memory, depends upon the size of string. Okay, what I want you to understand is every data type what you create in any programming language will be given some specific space inside the memory. So let's consider that this is the memory, and we have already discussed this is just a representation for the memory. Okay, memory doesn't look like this box, but it is just to show you. Okay, and this is actually a RAM. Memory means what? Inside our RAM. Inside our RAM, who is allocating this memory? The compiler or the interpreter will allocate the memory, and in somewhere in this RAM, it will just create a corner place for storing a value of a. Okay, so if you create something like b equals to 5.0, it will basically create one more place inside this memory with and stores the value b 5.0. But actually, this 5.0 will not be stored like this. It will be stored in the form of binary. Okay, so what I am telling you is this small size that has been allocated by the compiler. Who has allocated this place for the memory? Compiler has allocated this place inside the memory. This small space that is allocated, right? Actually, how much space will be allocated depends upon the data type. If it is integer, only 4 bytes will be allocated to that. 4 bytes, that means that you can store much bigger number. Okay, you can store like 1, keep on doing. We discussed 8 bytes, right? 8 bits means 1 byte. That means you can store 8 into 4. 8 into 4, 32 bits. 32 bits of 1 1 1 1 or 0 0 0 you can store, and just imagine how much big that number will be. Okay, so it will be around, I think, 67,000 something it will be there. Okay, but my just point to make you understand right now is how actually this variable we create it like this, but how exactly it works behind the scene inside the memory. That is what you should understand, point number 1. Second point, what you should understand, who allocates the space inside the memory. Where the space is allocated? The space is allocated inside the memory. Which memory? It will be allocated inside the RAM or the ROM, primary or secondary memory, whichever you want to call it. Okay, now who allocates the space for the variable? The compiler or the interpreter allocates the space. How much space it allocates? Who decides how much space to be allocated? So there are some rules that are given, like integer should be allocated with 4 bytes, float should be allocated with 4 bytes, long should be allocated with 8 bytes. So compiler will follow these rules. If you have created a variable of integer data type, it will allocate 4 bytes of memory. If it have created a variable of float data type, again it will allocate 4 bytes of memory. So it will create a place inside this memory with where you can store only 4 bytes. Now if you try to store more than 4 bytes, it will not be able to store there. Okay, so let's say if you want to store like this big number, inside a memory. So let's first of all check what is the largest value you can store inside an integer. Largest, it is 67,000 something. Largest value int can hold. Let's see, it can hold here something like this, 32 bit. If it is a 32 bit, then it can hold this much big. Is the maximum positive value for a 32 bit signed. Okay, 32 bit. If it is a 32 bit, if it is a 16 bit, again see here, it is not compulsory that always integer will store 4 bytes. Okay, integer will not always store bytes, it will sometimes store 2 bytes also. Depends upon it is a 32 bit operating system or it is 64 bit operating system. Okay, based upon this it basically depends again. So you must have seen these words, right? 32-bit operating system, 64-bit operating system. Again, based upon this, it varies. Okay, so 32-bit, same integer in 32-bit system, it will take 2 bytes, but same integer value in 64-bit system, it will be allocated with 4 bytes place to store the values. Okay, so again depends upon the bit of the operating system. So how much amount of memory is getting allocated actually depends upon the 32-bit operating system or 64-bit operating system. Okay, if it is 32-bit operating systems here, then it will store 32-bit signed integer. Why 32-bit number it will store? It is very simple. It will store 32-bit number because here I already told you that an integer. I already told you that an integer will store 4 bytes, and 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. So if it is 4 bytes, that means it is 32 bits. Okay, so this much big number you can store inside an integer. Okay, so if you try to store much bigger number than this, it will not store, it will throw an error. Okay, so it will say that you cannot store this much big number inside an integer variable. You will have to convert it into a long, because long can store 8 bytes. That means much bigger number. Is it clear what I am saying, or are you not getting this point? However, long and all is not there in Python. Long, short is not there in Python. Did you get? But this is just for your knowledge purpose. This is how it happens in other programming languages. Who did not understand this? Come on, first. Snail understood?
Little bit.
Yeah, say. What you did not understand? We'll speak about that more.
The memory allocation.
See here. Let's see. Let's go through it once more. Quick review. Okay. What I am trying to teach you is, this is nowhere related to again Python specifically, but for your knowledge purpose I am telling you this. Okay, not related to Python. What I am trying to tell you is that whenever you create a variable, behind the scene what exactly happens, that is what we are trying to see. Okay, you create a normal variable int equals to 5 and you go, right? But behind the scene, how actually is the memory allocation happening in any programming language? Okay, so how the memory is allocated, first of all question is who allocates the memory, who decides how much memory, because see, you have your RAM, right, and your RAM might be 2 GB, 4 GB, so you cannot create a variable of 8 GB, your RAM capacity is 4 GB and you cannot create a variable of 8 GB, right? So someone has to be there who will take care of all these things, like how much memory is there, how much to be allocated to a variable, and all those kind of stuff. So interpreter will do how much memory to be allocated to the variable or not. Okay, first question to be answered is that who allocates how much kind of memory. Now how much memory to be allocated actually depends upon which type of data you are going to store. Okay, so if you are storing maybe some simple integer, it will take some less memory. If you are storing some floating point, it will take some much bigger, if you are storing some double data, double basically means it will store decimal values itself, but it will store much bigger numbers. Okay, like 5.99999990999 something like this. Okay, decimal values but much bigger numbers. So for those, more memory has to be allocated. If it is an array, then it has to be allocated with some more memory. This all things will happen basically by the interpreter itself. Very simple. Now what I told you is how much memory allocates for each data type. Okay, so how much memory will be allocated if you want to store an integer value actually depends upon the operating system which you are using, 32-bit operating system or 64-bit operating system. If you are using 64-bit operating system, much little bit greater memory will be allocated, size will be allocated. Memory means what? Space in your hard disk or space in your RAM. If you are using 32-bit operating system, little less memory will be allocated or less space will be allocated. Okay, so if you want to store an integer value 4, so how much memory will be allocated to store that? In a 64-bit operating system, 4 bytes will be allocated. 4 bytes means what? 32 bits. Each bit means what? Either 1 and 0 is called 1 bit, and 1 byte means what? 8 bits. 8 into 4 is basically equals to 4 bytes. 4 bytes means what? 32 bits. So 32 bits will be allocated for a value to be stored, integer values to be stored. If you choose a different data type, maybe a character, you want to store a character. I've already told what is a character. A single letter is called as a character. If you want to store a single character, only one byte will be allocated. Only one byte. One byte will contain how many bits? 8 bits. So only 8 bits, 8 boxes will be allocated for you. If you want to store any character inside a variable, only in that much place you can store. If it basically overflows, if you are storing something much bigger than that, it will throw an error. Is that clear? That's it. Okay, not related to specifically to Python, but generally this is how it works in any programming language.
Yes.
If you have any doubts till here, you can just ask me. We are just seeing how memory management works inside when you actually create a variable. Can you just tell me, anyone having any doubts? Don't sit quiet, please. Come on. I hope you remember all the things which we discussed for first 3 days. After 4-5 days of gap, it did not go as bouncers. You did not forget all those things that came. Especially students of JCR in the name of freshers. I hope you did not lose all your data. Did you understood or no?
Yes.
Fine. Aditi समझायला ना?
हो.
Okay. So that's it. That's it. You understand, okay? Don't try to spend more things inside it. Just try to understand that how actually memory is allocated. Integer will be allocated some memory, a different memory. Floating value will be allocated with some different. That's it. Okay. And who allocates its compiler and all. So after this, what I want you to understand is operators. We were discussing about operators, like we discussed about logical operators. We discussed about there are something called as relational operators also. I am discussing the types of operators, okay? Relational operator, logical operator, and every operator I have already told will come with a priority or a precedence. Relational operator means if you want to double check equality, you can use double equal to. This is called as equality operator. Okay, if you want to check A is equal to B or not. Okay, so let's say is phi equal to phi. Come on, I want to check whether this phi is equal to this phi or not. So I want to check equality of these two people. Okay, this is 1, this is 2. I want to check the equality of these two. Then you can use double equal to operator. Okay, so this is called as equality operator. Only single equal to is called as assignment operator. Assignment operator. Single equal to is you actually used to assign some value to a variable. For example, you write something like this, right? A is equals to phi. So value phi is assigned to the variable A. Value phi is assigned to the variable A. So this is an assignment operator. This is double equal to is basically an equality operator. Check is used to check whether LHS is equal to RHS or not. Just checks LHS is equal to RHS or not. It will just check this thing. Okay, then there is another operators. There is greater than sign, there is smaller than sign, then there is greater than equal to sign, there is smaller than equal to sign. You can check like 5 is greater than 3 or not, 3 is smaller than 2 or not, if it is greater than equal to or not, all those kind of stuff. So I will not spend much about this. I hope you understood all this kind of stuff. Is this operators part clear? Do you want me to spend some more time on this, or
Yes.
we can go ahead? We should go ahead, or we should do the same thing again? Come on, fast.
Examples सांग.
Operators चे.
हाँ.
So त्याच्यासाठी I already told you, right? So we'll be writing some programs. So today's class itself, so we'll be covering it there.
Okay.
Relational operators is done. So I'll talk about little bit about, you understood about the variables, right? Memory management in variables, like how memory will be allocated, how much bytes or bits of memory will be allocated for a variable, you understood, right? I want to also talk about data types. What are the different types of data types that are available? Okay, so data types can be classified as two types. One is primitive data types, and another one is called as non-primitive data types. Now can someone tell me what are primitive data types? Anyone knows? Come on fast. If you don't know, I'll just tell.
Int
Data
float.
types. Yes, int, float. So primitive data types means int, float, char. All these are primitive data types. Okay, non-primitive data types.
List array.
List,
Array.
array, string, stack,
Queues.
queue, all these kind of are basically data types. Okay, so you must have not heard few data types, which is this data type stack, which is this data type queue. Okay, there are lots of other data types, graphs is there, trees is there, lots of other complex data types. These are little bit complex data types are there, which you will study in data structures I think subject. Okay, where that is completely a subject which is only related to studying data structure or data types. This is one and the same. Okay, data structures and data types basically means one and the same thing. So that is a separate subject itself. I will not talk about that, but just understand that data types are primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Primitive data types, some examples I told, non-primitive also already told. Now what exactly is a primitive data type, what exactly is a non-primitive data type? Primitive data type basically are those data types which cannot be divided further. Simple words I am telling. Okay, those data types which cannot be further divided into small parts. Non-primitive data types are those data types which can be further divided into small parts. Simplest example, let's take int. I write I'll take an integer value 5. Can you divide this integer value 5 further into still more small piece? You will not be able to do it because it is already a smallest piece. But let's say hello world, it's a string. Hello world is a string, and I want to divide it into still smaller part. Which is that smaller part which I can divide it into? Which is another smaller data type which I can divide it into? Characters, because strings are actually formed using characters, right? So if I have a string hello world and I can divide it, I can chop it into small each letter, right? And each letter can form one more data type which is called as character, right? So let's consider array. You have a numbers, 5 numbers. You have a list. You have an array which is holding 5 numbers. Can this array be divided into still small parts?
Yes.
Of what? Of which data type you will divide it into small parts? Let's say an example. Let's say the example is I am storing a array which is holding 5 numbers. 5 integer numbers are there inside an array. You got the point? 5 integer numbers are there inside an array. Can this array be divided into still smaller parts? If it is yes, then which data type can be divided into?
List.
You will divide an array into and you will get a list. See, it's simple. Primitive data types basically are those data types which cannot be divided further. For example, you have a floating point value 5.0. This cannot be divided further, okay? But let's say if you have this string, this can be divided into further, and each whatever word you will divide it into, right? Divide it into 4 words, small letters, and each letter will be called as another data type which is called as char. So if you divide it, let's say we have an array which is having 5 numbers, 3 numbers. Can this be divided into small parts? Yes, it can be divided into small parts, and each part will be an integer. But an integer cannot be further divided into small parts, because integer is a primitive data type and array is a non-primitive data type. Is that clear? Is that
Yes.
clear? Snell?
Yes.
Primitive data type, non-primitive data type. Very simple, which can be divided further, which cannot be divided further. Example also, we told you how it can be divided further. If you talk about a string, it can be further divided into small characters. But if you talk about a number, what you will divide a number upon? If you have 5, if you break it, it is in simplest form itself. Again, what you will break it. But if you have an array of 5 numbers, then you can again divide that array into individual numbers, and each individual number is an integer, right? So something like that. Sejal, is it clear? Sejal, you are there? So some people are sitting for namesake or what? So Chitra?
Yes.
Fine. So this was all about data types. We spoke more about data types. We spoke about how memory will be going into picture when we create variables. Then we spoke about operators. I hope these all points were completely clear. Okay, so if these are clear, we'll talk more about strings, and we will directly actually go into code itself and speak about this now. So let me go inside the project inside the project complete Python bootcamp, and I've created a day 4 here. So let me open this day 4 inside VS Code. I'll right click and click on open with other application, open with VS Code. Or else the other way what you can do is go and open your VS Code, click on new window, and then select the folder which you want to open. That's it, it will open. So I have got my VS Code on, day 4 folder is opened here. Okay, so let me create a new file inside this, and let's say it as my day 4. Let's call it as day4.py. okay, hit enter. day4.py, very simple. Yes, got a Python file right now here. I want to run the program in the terminal, so I'll just open the terminal from here. Got the terminal here. Okay, still not got. Yes, it came now. Perfect. Now to print, we have already seen how do you print something. So if everything is working fine or not, let's check. Hello world. How do you execute a Python program? Come on fast.
Python.
Python?
Python name file dot py.
Python
File name.
day4.py. Yes, correct. Python day4.py, hit enter. Yes, we got everything is working fine. Hello world. Okay, so now we'll do one thing. Let's say I give you a task. Okay, you will have to write a program to print this. I'm just writing comments. How do you write actually comment in Python? What symbol you use to write comment in Python? Which one?
Hash.
Hash. Okay, so I'm writing a comment. Write a program to print maybe letter something like Z. Let's say Z. Okay, write a program to print letter Z in program. Okay, print letter Z. So what do I mean by this? I mean something like this. Your output should be something like this. It should look Z Z Z Z 1 2 3 4 5. Then it should have like this. It doesn't look like that, so let me do it with stars. So star 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 1 2 3 4 5. Let's do star. I want a program like this. Did you get this thing? What I said? Looks something like Z. We'll just manage with this. Did you understand what I'm trying to say? Just confirm me if you're understanding or not. Did you understand what I'm trying to say? Hello?
Comments.
No, I just show you the output of this program. It should look like this. Output of program should look like this. Okay, the output should look like this. Now, first of all, tell me who can do it.
Def using this.
I'll tell you one thing. Okay, how to write any program, I'll tell you. Any language program, not only Python program, but any language program. How to write any program. Okay, first thing what you do is forget about writing program. Think of a solution or a logic, how you can solve it. Okay, of logic of how to solve it without using program, in normal English language. Okay, this is also called as pseudocode. You should always write the pseudocode first. Okay, once you write the pseudocode, now ask yourself, what concepts that I have learnt, what concepts that I know in the programming language, can be used to solve this, Next, your third step is write some code, and your fourth step is very simple, debug it. Okay, because you will not be able to get the answer in first shot. Okay, so first of all, these steps you follow, you will be able to solve most of your programming problems. Okay, your first step is to think of a solution or some kind of logic, okay, which we call it as pseudocode, and this is actually in your normal language, in your English normal language. This is actually you should write this in English language. Your normal English language you should write it. If you understood this now, then you will be able to write any program. So what I told you is, you should write a program to print letter Z. Now tell me, first of all, how, and the output of the program should look something like this. First of all, this is looking like Z or no?
Yes.
It is looking like Z. Okay, so we will have to write a program which should print something like this. Okay, so first of all, in this program, because this is the most simplest program that is available, we don't have any logic itself here. There is no need to write any pseudocode, because there is no logic itself there. Do we have to download extension for .py in VS Code? Yes, you can. If you want to, you can, but I would not suggest you at this point. When we will reach around maybe day 12, day 13, you will be, I will ask all to do it, but right now you all don't know much of the things. I want you all to write it on your own without the help of extension. Once you get used to it, you will feel bored of writing the same thing again and again. That time you should take the help of extension. But starting, because you should remember it, you should keep on writing it again and again on your own itself without the help of extension. So first step, as I told you, that we should first of all write some pseudocode. Okay, so how will the pseudocode look like? I'll tell you. Problem is print Z in Python. You should print Z. How is the Z looking? Like star, 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 star. Then star is there, and then we have star, 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 star. Something like this is looking. So I am assuming that this is looking like Z. Something like this, like this, like this. I am assuming it is looking like Z. Okay. So this is what we have to print. Okay, so take a pen and paper and first of all write. First try to understand the problem statement and write this pseudocode. Okay, so what we'll have to do is first of all we'll have to print this Z, right, with the help of stars. So now this itself is my pseudocode because it's the most simplest problem. This itself is my logic. Okay, so now my next question, I have understood that this is how I have to print it. I have to print it. Now second question is what I told. Second point which I told, it was there itself, is ask yourself what concept you know it, you have learned in the programming language that can be used to solve it. Now can someone tell me what all concept you have learned already which can be used to solve it? Tell me. First one. You have to print
Like
this.
using print.
Yes,
Print
you have learned one
statement.
function which is actually print. You have learned this function now which is used to print something. So it's very simple. First of all, try to understand the problem and write the pseudocode for it. Okay, or take a rough pen and paper and write it in your English terms. Now ask yourself what all I have learned which can be used to solve this. I know that my question problem statement is that print Z. Print Z. So I have learned one function which is print inside the program which can be used to print things. So very simple. So I will use this function. Very simple. How? So first of all, now let's divide this problem into small parts. Divide this into 3 parts. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay. If I ask you to print only this much, can you print? Come on, fast, everyone.
Yes.
How to print
Yes.
it? How to print it?
Print. Print
In
in
How you all
double
are
quotes.
basically telling? I'll just write it. Okay. Print.
In double quotes, star, star.
print
Double quotes.
Star, star, double quote, star, star, star.
Okay. Perfect. Correct. See, why should I write double quotes? This will work. This will work or
No.
As you no.
It will not work, and it should not work also. Why? Because we know that star is actually a multiplication operator, and you are telling it to multiply with multiply. What is this? Does it mean anything? Star can be used with see, if you want to do a number star 2, okay, this will work because this multiplication operator is used along with 2 operands. Okay, but if you are using star with star itself, that doesn't make any sense, right? So this is error, this is wrong. Okay, so it will not work. So if you want to print itself, then you will have to make it as a string. You can imagine that star, if I just put it in double quotes, same star, if I write it in double quotes now it's no longer an operator. It is not an operator now, it is actually a character because it's a string. String is basically a combination of characters. So now it is no longer an operator, now it is a character. Okay, so you all told as it is I am writing something like this. Solved first part of the program. Very simple. Come, let's go for the next part of the program. In the second part of the program, what we have to do is we will have to build this one. Okay, so let's divide this also into small parts. This one, let's try to think of just giving this one. How to do this? At which number this star is there?
3.
3, no, actually I have
Two,
misplaced
two.
it. Like, let's bring it here.
4.
4. Okay, so the number is 4. At 4th location, star is there. How to bring it here? How to bring it here? How to print that same thing there? Here. You want to see the output of this? Python. See here, we have got starting 5 stars. Perfect. At least 25% of the problem is solved. Second, what you said? Aditi, yes, what you have told, almost you're completely right what you have shared. Okay. Snail, what you're saying?
print in brackets 4 spaces, then star.
Perfect, completely correct. Because I want it in next line, you should understand that in Python, whenever you write print statement, automatically there is no need to write /n. Okay, so there are two escape characters which I will tell you. One is /n. Whenever you use this character, this will bring the program to the new line. The output will be printed on the next line. Okay, this is new line character. And one is /t, which is tab space. This is used to give a tab space. It will automatically give some tab space if you use this character. Okay, what do I mean by this? I'll tell you. If I just write here like this, and if I write /t, see here the color has changed, and then if I write star, it will give a tab space here. Okay, so let's print this and see. See here, automatically it gave some tab space, but this is not which I wanted. I'm just trying to tell you that it can be used. Okay, /t for tab space and /n for new line. So if you want, let's say, 2 stars to be printed and third star should come on the next line, what I could have done is I could have written /n here. 2 stars will be printed, next new line will be printed. New line means what? Next line will be printed, and next line it will print the rest of the things. So if you just see here 2 stars, it went to new line because I wrote /n, next stars here and here. Okay, perfect. I think this is very simple. So what Snail told is give space 1 2 3, this much is fine. Okay, so it came almost here. Fine, let's do this and see. Perfect, looks good. We have got now come on, can you tell me the next line of program? Next line of code, fast.
Print 3 spaces.
Print second space second.
Print double quotes. Oh, sorry. Maybe something like this, or I can basically put it here. It's here also, something like this, and then last line is print star, and here you should get your Z. Come on. Yes, we got the Z. Doesn't looks like Z. Looks somewhat like Z. We can make it like Z something by doing something like this also. We can do like this, and we may do something like this. We can bring few more print statements and make it look like Z. That is also possible. This might look, I think I have to add one more to make it look more like Z. I think now it should be fine, I feel. Let's check. Let's make it 3 here, let's make it 2 here. Okay, so let's see. Or something like this also should be fine. Okay, see here. Okay, I hope is this clear what I am trying to tell you?
Yes.
Now
Yes.
we will use almost same strategies to write all our programs. Same strategies. Okay, now let's try to understand more about strings. Let's try to understand this more about strings. Okay, so how to create a normal string? Tell me, how do you create a string? I want to create a string with my name and store it in some variable. Come on, fast. Come on, fast. I want to create a string and store it in some variable. You know it or you don't know?
A which is equals to
Name equals to Gautam. Okay, very simple. Something like this I can store. So this is a string which I have stored it inside this variable. If I print name, it will basically print this one, name. Okay, so if I just print now name. Okay, when I am saying print name, what I am trying to tell, print what is there inside this variable name. Now I will not put it in double quotes. Remember this. If you put it in double quotes, that basically means that you are asking the program to print as it is what is there inside the double quotes. Whenever you put double quotes, right, it will print as it is. As it is how you have written inside the variable, as it is how you have written inside the double quotes, that will be printed as it is. Okay, let's see. See here, as it is, it will be printed name. But if I want to print what is there inside this variable, remember the two difference. Okay, very important. If I want to print what is there inside this variable, I will not put double quotes. I will directly write the variable name. Now it will print your name. See here. Is this clear? Is this clear or no?
Yes.
Yes.
String is a primitive data type or non-primitive data type?
Primitive.
Wow.
Non-primitive.
Why non-primitive? Why it is
It can be
non-primitive?
divided.
What?
It can be divided into
It can be divided.
Yes. It can be divided into further small parts, and each part will form a new data type. Which is the data type?
Character.
Each part or each letter of that will form a new character, which is itself a data type. So it is called as non-primitive data type. Perfect. So this string can be accessed with something called as indexes. Okay, index is nothing but a number that is given to every location, of this word. Okay, and indexing will always start from 0. Indexing will start from 0. What is index? Index is basically a number that is given to the location, every location of a string. Okay, so the h is stored at the 0th index, e is stored at 1 index, l is stored at 2 index, another l is stored at 3 index, and o is stored at 4th index. In Python, indexing will start from 0 and it will end at n minus 1. Okay, so if I ask you what is the length of this string, what is the length of this string? What is the length of the string?
How many characters it holds?
5 characters. So length of the string is nothing but how many characters are there inside that string. How many characters are there? 5 characters are there. So the length of the string is 5. Okay. So in Python there is a function also, len function, which is used to, it is an inbuilt function which is used to find length of any string or array or whatever, length of any string or list or array or whatever you want to call. What is list? I'll tell you afterwards. Okay, but it is used to find, it's a function which is used to find the length. Okay, so see here, indexing started from 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can say that if the length of the string is 5, then the indexing will end at 5 minus 1, that is 4. Did you get this point? Indexing will always start from 0 and end at n minus 1. That is, n is basically the length of the string. Is this point clear or no, first of all?
Yes.
Perfect. So if I want to print only O, letter O, how will you print? Tell me. If you want to print only letter O, how will you print? So I'll tell you one more point. Okay. So accessing of letters of string. How do you access the letters of the string? Okay, the way you access the letters of the string is with the help of, first of all, string name, then you put these 2 square brackets and then you mention the index here. This is how you access the letters that are present inside a string. For example, let's say we have a name equals to Snehal. This is the name which we have, okay, and I want you to print only the letter L, the last letter of this. I want to print the last letter of the variable, last letter of the word that is stored in the variable name. So how will you write? First of all, you should write string name. What is the string name? Come on, what is the string name?
Name.
Snehal.
Name. not snail. Okay, why not snail? Because the string is actually stored in this variable, right? So now the snail is actually stored in this variable name. So you can just consider that the word snail is actually stored in this box name. So the string name is actually the variable name now. First you write the variable name, then this put these two brackets and then write the index. What is the index of the last letter? What is the index of the last letter?
5. 5.
See here it is there. The last letter, it will start from 0 and at n minus 1. What is n minus 1? N is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 minus 1, 5. Is this point clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll teach you one more concept. First of all, I'll put you in some problem, okay, and then you will understand one more concept. We'll come back to this one, but let's try to play here first. Okay, so if I want to print the last letter of this, I will write string name. Last I can write maybe 6. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 minus 1, 5. Okay, let's try to print this and see. And yes, it is printing the last letter yum. Perfect. We have got this point, right? Now, if I want to print the length of this string, how do I print the length of the string? How do I print the length of the len function?
Print length of
String alien.
Exactly. So first of all, you will say print. Next, inside this print, you will write what you want to print. So what you want to print? You want to print name, length of name. How to find the length of name? You will use one function len. So write len. Len is actually a function. So I have already told that whenever you see these two brackets, you should understand that it's a function. So len is a function. So we wrote len like this. Okay. Now inside this len function, you should pass the string name. What is the string name? Name. That's it. So how this actually will be solved? See, first of all, I told you brackets will have higher precedence. So it will come first of all here. Okay, it will come first of all here. It will first of all try to find length of name. What is the length of name? Tell me. What is the name? First of all, how I am telling you how computer will actually solve this line. Okay. First of all, whatever name variable is there, this is actually a variable. So this variable will be substituted by its value. What is the value of that variable? What is the value of the variable?
Gautam.
Name. Gautam. So compiler will do this. Okay. Compiler will substitute the variable with its value. Now it has substituted. Just understand that it has substituted this variable name with the value. Now it will find length of Gautam. What is the length of Gautam?
6.
6. Now this whole answer we have got, right? This whole answer, length of Gautam, we have got this. So and the answer is 6. So this will be removed now. This will be removed and 6 will come here because it will keep on solving things, right? So length of name is been solved and the answer for that it has got 6. Now it will be left with this one. Now it will say print 6. We know what print will do. Print will print the whatever answer will come here. Print here, answer has come 6. So it will print 6. Is this clear for you all? How actually these expressions gets evaluated? This is
I know.
actually
Yes.
whatever you wrote here, right? Actually inside behind the scenes something like that happens. What? Someone was saying something?
It is 5. No, it will take from 0.
Snail, what is the meaning of length of a string?
Yes.
What is the meaning of length of a string? Forget about that
It will
length
calculate
function.
the length of that string.
Length of the string is nothing but the number of characters that are present in the string. Now Gautam word has how many characters, you tell me? Forget about indexing, I am not talking about indexing. Length of the string. Exactly. So that is nothing but length. Length is nowhere related to indexing. Length is nothing but the number of characters that are present in the string. But if you want to access only some part of that string, you can use indexing. Maybe you want to access only the last letter of that string, maybe you want to access the first letter of that string, maybe you want to access the mid letter of that string. If you want to do such kind of operations on the string, if you want to access some part of that string, you will be using the concept of indexing. Got this?
Yes.
Snell, is this clear?
Yes.
Fine. So we'll write some programs. Let's see what it will print. Yes, it is printing 6. Perfect. Okay. Now what I want you to do is, I have statically hard coded here name. Okay. So I want you to write a program. Write a program which takes name as input and displays the length of your name, displays the length of your name. This is the program which you have to write. Can someone tell me how we should write this?
Name which is
First of
equals
all,
to
see
input of
again, yeah, whatever you're telling is completely right. Again, we'll go back to the same thing. Think of a solution or a logic, how to solve this. So your steps could be, in a piece of paper you could write a simple pseudo code saying that first take the input from the user. First step is take the input from the user in simple language. Whatever you say in simple language, right, that is called as pseudo code. First take input from the user. Second one, you might write use the length function to calculate the length of the name that you have taken from the user. Simple. This is called as pseudo code. Now ask yourself which concepts you have basically learnt which you can use to do this. So you have learnt how you already know how to take input from the user, right? So you will use that concept. You will already know how to print something on the screen. You will use that concept and you will write some code, and then if it did not work, you will debug. Debug means basically figuring out some problems inside your program or figuring out some errors inside your program. Now tell me, how will you write it? Come on, fast.
name which is equals to
Name, a variable you are creating, and inside that variable you are going to store some value. What is the value you want to store inside that variable?
input
Let's not write name
of
equals to. Let's not write name equals to first. First write how do you take the input from the user? Which function you use?
input function.
Input function. Perfect. Inside the input function you can write whatever string you want to display on the screen. I may just say enter your name. Just simple, in simple words I may say something like this. Whatever answer you are going to get from this, okay, whatever answer, see, always remember that in programming language, this is the most important point you will have to remember. Whatever will be there on the RHS side will be stored inside the whatever you write on the LHS side. Very important point. Don't ever forget this point. Whatever you are going to write on the RHS side will be always stored inside the LHS side. Please remember this point for lifelong. Whatever is stored on the RHS side. So this is what we are going to get the answer. What this line will do, this line will actually take the input from the user. Whatever this answer will be there of this, we already know how to store something in some variable with the help of assignment operator. Which is that assignment operator? Equal to symbol. Single equal to is an assignment operator, right, which is used to assign some value to a variable. So we already discussed whatever is stored on the RHS side will be basically stored on the whatever is answer comes from the RHS side will be stored on the LHS side. So LHS side I'll write name, variable name. Whatever variable name you want to write, that you write in this variable. Whatever answer comes from this with the help of this assignment operator will be stored inside the variable which you have created here. Simple. Next. Come on, next.
Length of
I just want to print the length. I don't want to write some string. I just want to print the length.
print length of name.
Print. Use the length function like this. Everywhere, whenever it's a function, you will be using these two brackets. Length of what you want to print, the length of name. Very simple. Now listen. Now what we have done is our program. Last time it was static. Once we have written the name, it was hard-coded name. Now our program is beautiful because it is dynamic. It will work for any name now. If I write Gautam, it will print 6. Let's say if I write Snehal, it will print somewhere 6. Let's try with Aditi, ADITI. Aditi, it is printing 5. Let's try with Prashant, Prashant, it is printing 8. Perfect. Now it is working for every names. Okay, so you saw the beauty. Whenever you take input from the user, it becomes dynamic. Now it is no more static. Now we are not hard coding values by creating variables. It is actually the input what we are taking from the user and making it dynamic. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to teach you one more thing, which is string concatenation. Okay, before that, let's do one thing. String concatenation also I'll tell you, then I'll just teach about that afterwards. Okay, let me erase this one. String concatenation. What is meaning of string concatenations? Adding two or more strings. Adding two or more strings to form one string. Adding two or more strings to form one string is called as string concatenation. Very simple. Okay, so let's try to see what do I mean by that. I'll just comment out this string concatenation. Okay, what does it mean? Let's say I'll create two variables. Okay, one is full name, and full name I will store my name, Gautam. Okay, Gautam. Let's say I will create another variable, last name. This is very simple for you all now. We have already done this. Now what if you want to add these two strings? If you want to add these two strings, then you maybe you can store it something like this. Okay, let's not call this full name. Let's call this first name, let's call this last name. Okay, and let's call new variable full name. Full name is basically I want to add these two things. Okay, so you can concatenate two strings with the help of plus operator, plus sign. You can, if you use plus operator, right, then you can add. When you use numbers, if you do 2 plus 2, it will actually add to numbers, but if you do string plus string, it will join those string. Okay, so if I do now first name plus last name, so which operator is used to concatenate two strings? You can use plus sign. Plus sign is used to concatenate two string. Concatenate two string means what? To join two string or to add two string to form one string. Now it will basically join these two strings, it will basically create a new string, and that create new string will be stored inside this variable, which is full name. I have already told whatever answer is coming from RHS side, with the help of equal to sign, it will be stored on LHS side. And then if I just print full name, now it should print Gautam Patil, which without space, because it has concatenated. See here, it will just join these two things. Okay, this letter and this word has been joined. If I give a space here now it will print space also. It will print Gautam, then space, this string will be joined with this string. See here, Gautam Patil. Did you understand string concatenation? Did you understand string concatenation? Perfect. So I'll teach one more thing, which is F strings. F strings and string formatting. Okay, F strings and string formatting. So what if I tell you to print something like this? Let's say age, there is a variable age is equals to 23. Okay, and I want you to print something like this. Let's say I give you a task, write a program to take input age from user and print this line. Print this line. What is that line you should print? I am writing it in double quotes so that you can differentiate it. Okay, you should print your age is age. Whatever is there inside the variable, your age is basically whatever age the user has entered. Okay, so I hope that you understood. Did you understand what I am trying to tell? You should write a program which should take input from the user, what? Age. Okay, and you can store it in whichever variable you want, and it should print your age is whatever the age the user has entered. Now can someone tell me how to do it? Come on, fast.
Age which is equals to enter your age.
Age is enter your age. Age is equal to enter your age.
Input.
Input of.
Input of enter your age. Enter your age. Perfect. Looks sound simple. Yes. Next. Which is used to print.
Print. Print.
Print. Yes. What?
In quotes.
In quotes.
Your age is
Your age is
plus
plus what?
age.
Age. What is this age? You know? Who told this answer first of all? Who told this answer?
Snell.
Okay. This is very basics, but I hope you are getting. This age is actually referring to this variable age. Okay. Now, first of all, you tell me one thing. Age is first of all, it's a number or it's a string.
String.
Age is a string. Age in normal
Number.
thing, age should be a number. Yes. But in this variable, a number is stored. Age, whatever this variable is there, right? Age, a number is stored or a string is stored.
String.
How to check it? How to confirm it?
Type age.
Perfect. Printf, if I do print, I want to know the type of age. Type of age will give, type is a function which is used to print the data type of a variable. Type is a function which is used to print the data type of a variable. So you can write type of age and print that type of age. If I write something like this, what it will print? It will say your age, so 23. See here, it is saying first of all it's a string. Why it is a string? Can someone tell me? Why it's a string? Come on.
By default, the input function will treat the inputted value as a string.
Completely correct.
Input function will.
Yes. Whatever you are telling is correct. Okay. It will basically by default it will always return a string. It will always return means what? It will give. It will always give the answer in the form of a string data type. Okay. Now this whatever you wrote, right? I told you that you can add two strings with the help of plus operator, right? So because this was a string, you were able to add it. But you should understand that age will never be a string. So we will have to convert it into a number, right? Although it is working, see here, it is saying that your age is 23 because this is a string and this is a string and you have already added those two strings, concatenated those two strings with the help of plus operator and it is working. But I want to be a little bit more specific. I want to convert this age into first of all integer. How to do it?
In that single line, you can put before input, you can put integer, and in bracket you can put the input and the statement.
There is a function which we discussed in the last class, right? That is a function is nothing but integer function, int function. Int function is used to convert any string value into integer. I repeat, int is basically an inbuilt function that is used to convert any string value to an integer value. Similarly, we have float function. Float function is used to convert any string value to a floating point value. Similarly, we have str function, str, that is string function, which is used to convert any integer or any floating point into a string back. I hope three functions, int function, float function, string functions, converts one data type to another data type. Okay, so what I am saying is I want the integer value of this. Int of what? Int of whatever I get from the input, enter your age, whatever input I get, that I want you to convert it, whatever input. See this answer, first of all, this will be executed. Input, enter your age, it will ask to enter your age. As soon as you enter whatever age, let's say I enter 23, so that will be removed, and 23 whatever age I have entered, that will be replaced by that particular line, and then it will convert 23. Sorry, it will always return a string, right? That input function will always return a string. So this 23 whatever I have written in the terminal right here in the console, that will be in the form of a string. Now this will be basically converted with the help of this integer function into a number, and it will be converted like this now 23, and now 23 will be stored here. Is this clear?
Yes.
I think I have told it in a very simple language. It is clear. Now will this program work or no? If you want to just cross verify, let's comment out this line. Let's check whether the type of age now. Yes, class int means perfect, it is working properly. Now I'll just remove this. Now will it work or no? Will it work or no? First.
No,
Why?
because we are adding string with an integer.
Completely correct. See here, I have already told you string concatenation. I did not tell you integer float concatenation. I told you string concatenation. String concatenation means what? One string I am adding to another string to form a new string. That is possible, but you cannot add to other data types and try to concatenate it. Okay, that's not possible. So it will not work. It will throw an error. I want you to see that error. Let me run this. Enter your age, let's say something like this, and see here, type error. You can concatenate string to string, not integer. Did everyone get this? When do you actually get a type error? Did you get this one? Did you get this one or no? I think we should have some tea and come. Did you understand or no? You all are there or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there, Snail is there, Prashant is there,
Yes.
Chitra, you are there. You want some break now? You want some break? Come on, fast. If you want, you can just tell me. You want to check your WhatsApp messages for some time. Hello?
It's okay, continue.
Aditi told this, huh? Fine. I hope you have not got bored. If you have got bored, then I think we can just take some 5 minutes break. Will you all agree to me for me to continue, or should I wait some 5 minutes?
Continue.
Suchitra, fine, no? If I continued, and Snail,
Yes.
not getting bored, right?
No.
Fine. Then, so this is called as nothing but type error. Type error basically means that you're trying to add two things which are incompatible with each other. So how do you understand which is compatible with each other? So string and string you can add. Integer and integer you can try to add. It will form an addition operation. But you cannot do other data types additions. Okay. So that there comes a concept which is called as type conversion. There comes a new concept which is called as type conversion. Type conversion is divided into two parts. One is called as implicit type conversion, and another one is called as explicit type conversion. This is just a theory part for you. Okay, implicit type conversion and type. What is actually type conversion? Converting one data type into another data type. Converting one data type into another data type, as simple as that, nothing much difficult here. Okay, one data type we are trying to convert it into another data type, that is called as type conversion. Two types of type conversion are there. One is implicit conversion, one is explicit conversion. Implicit conversion is done by compiler. It is automatically done by compiler. Auto done by compiler. You don't have to do anything for it. Automatically the compiler will do. Explicit conversion, manually a programmer can do it. Manually, that means he has to write some code. Manually, programmer will do it. Programmer can do it. Is this simple? Type, what is type conversion? First thing, what are the different types of type conversion? Implicit, explicit. Implicit is basically done by compiler automatically. How it does it automatically, I'll show you. Explicit is basically the one type of type conversion which manually a programmer has to do it. Is this clear or no? Hello?
Yes.
So auto type conversion is there, right? So your one of the question might be, which kind of data types can be converted from one form to another form? See, anything you cannot convert from here and there. Whatever you want, you cannot do. Okay. So lower data type can be always converted to higher data type. Remember this formula. A lower data type can be always converted to higher data type. What is the meaning of lower data type? Lower data type basically means that, see here, I was explaining here, no, about integers and floats. See here, these four, it is occupying 4 bytes. It is occupying 4 bytes. It is occupying 8 bytes. It is occupying 8 bytes. That means these are basically higher data type. This is an higher data type when compared to this one. Okay, so it is just like saying, you have a water tank. Okay, so these are water tanks for every data type. Okay, let's consider only 2 right now. Okay, so let's consider this is a water tank for integer data type. This is a water tank for long data type. Okay, so what is the size of this data type? How much size of data we can store inside this integer data type? Let's consider we have 64-bit operating system. Come on, fast. How much size of data we can store in integer? This should be ratta modified, as it is. You must know this. 64-bit operating system. What is the size of data you can store in integer? No one knows. We discussed no today only. Aditi.
काय मला नाही कळलं कसं.
Integer मध्ये what is the size that is basically stored when you want to store an integer value? How
4 bytes.
4 bytes. That is nothing but 32 bits. 4 bytes is almost equal to 32 bits. No, you calculate in the form of bytes or you calculate in the form of bits, one and the same. That is nothing but 4 bytes. In long how much?
8 bytes.
8 bytes. Okay, so I will just simplify this. I'll just say that this is a 4-liter tank. 4-liter tank. This is a 8-liter tank. Okay, water tank. We have another one. Char is there. Let's say char. How much it is?
1 byte.
Perfect. Something like this. Now, can you tell me one thing? Okay, let's say we want to do type conversion. We want to convert one data type into another data type. Okay, we want to do some type conversion. One data type to another data type we want to convert. Can you tell me one thing? Okay, let's say I have created a variable a is equals to some, let's say, okay, I am talking about statically typed languages. Okay, let's say long. I have created a variable long a equals to some long value I am storing inside this. Okay, now I want this a to be converted to integer. If I say int of a, we already know, right? Int is a function which is used to convert any strings and all those kind of stuff into integer values. So this is just like saying there is a 8-liter tank, water tank, and I want to store 8 liters and convert it into a 4-liter water tank and store it inside 4-liter. Is it possible? Is it possible?
No.
No, it's not possible. Common sense. Can you store 8 liters of water in 4-liter tank? This is not possible. Is this possible? if I want to convert an integer value to a long value, which is integer will have a 4-liter tank, and I want to put this 4-liter, all this 4-liter whatever water is there, right, I want to put it inside a long which is a 8-liter tank. Is this possible?
Yes.
Common sense, yes, it is possible. So that's what I was trying to tell you. A shorter data type can be converted to a longer data type, but a longer data type can never be converted to shorter data type. You know why? It will run out of memory. Why it will run out of memory? You know, no? See here, 8 bytes of data is there here, 8 bytes of size is there, 8 liters tank of water is there here, and you are trying to store 8 liters in 4 liter. How is it possible? It will overflow. Until it will, so it's not like you will not be able to convert it itself. You will be able to store, but you will be able to store only 4 liters. Remaining 4 liters will overflow. So you will be able to store only half of the value, and remaining half of the value will overflow. Gone. Is this clear? Come on, fast. Is this clear?
Yes.
Perfect. So whatever shorter data types are converted to higher data types, this is called as implicit conversion. Automatically compiler will do it. No need to do it. No need to tell for it to do it. See here, I'll just show you. Let's, yes. Okay, so another way to do this, okay, this is how you have concatenated it. So I'll just try to solve this problem and show you. First of all, how to do it is, first of all, you can convert this age to string. How to convert age to string? Tell me. How do you convert the age, which is integer, to string? Come on, fast. How do you convert an integer to string? str. I told you the function, right? Inbuilt function str. I told you 3 functions. One is int, one is float, and one is str function. And length function also I told you, which is used to find out the length. Now it will work. Enter your age. See here, it is an integer itself, but we have converted it to a string, and we have put the age inside a string. So your age is 23. What it will do is str function will convert age to age will be replaced with whatever age I have typed, that is 23, which is an integer format. Str will convert this integer to a string, and it will be something like this, 23. And now you can add these 2 strings. This string can be added with this string, and you will get the answer. Is that clear?
Yes.
So I'll tell you one more thing here. Okay, you can do string formatting. You can use something called as f strings. Without conversion also you can print it. If you don't want to convert, you can print it with something like this. You can print any variable inside a string. You can use any variable inside a string, or print any variable inside a string with help of string formatting and f strings. With the help of these 2 concepts, you can use it. For example, let's say I have an variable age is equals to 34. Okay, and I want to print your age is something like this. Your option is one is like this, your age is, and then you can concatenate, convert it, because it is an integer, you will convert it to string, and you can do like this. Okay, this is one option. Another option is, if you want to print, because this is the variable, right, you can print any variable of any data type. How to print a variable, any variable of any data type inside a string? How do you print it? With the help of f strings, with the help of string formatting or f strings, okay, any of this you can use, or f strings. Okay, so f string is a concept that is introduced in Python 3.6 above. So if you are using Python 2.7, f string will not work for you. Okay, I repeat again one time, f string was introduced in Python 3.6, I feel. So if you are using Python 3.5 and all, it will not work. Okay, so how to write f strings? You can put f here. You should just put a f here at the starting, and then write whichever variable you want to use here. So you want to use like something like this, right? Your age is, you should write the variable name here, right? Age variable name. So write the age is actually stored in this variable, right? Age. So instead of that, I'll put these 2 brackets. Because here, if I directly write age here, if I write your age is age, it will print exactly age, right? Why it will print age? Because it's a string. So if you don't want to print age here, you want to print the value that is stored inside the variable. That is what I am trying to tell you here. If you want to print a value that is there inside a variable, inside a string, I don't want to print the letter age here. I want to print the variable age here inside this string. Inside this string, I want to print the variable value here. What is the variable value? 34. I want to print that. So I will put it in these brackets. Instead of writing like this, now see the color changed. Now this is in white color. This is also white color. Color changed. Now it will work. So what two changes you did? If you want to print any variable name inside a string, you will use either f string or either you will use string formatting. If you want to use f string, first of all you should write f at the start of the string, and then whichever the variable name is there, that variable names should be put inside these curly brackets. So now also it will work. Enter your age. Sorry, this one I did not comment out. Okay, so this one I did not comment out. Just close this program. Your age is 34. See here, it is printing now. No need to do conversion also. Okay, why? Because we are doing string formatting. Okay, so it is automatically converting whatever your string you are doing, right? It is behind the scene converting. You don't need to convert it. So you can do something like this, or this is one way. Same thing if you want to do in string formatting way, you will write something like this. You will write print as it is your string, your age is as it is. Okay, and here you want to basically write the variable name, right? So instead of that variable name, you will put these two brackets. You should not write the variable name here. You should just put these two brackets. That's it. Just put these two brackets, and after the string completes, I repeat again one time, after the string ends, the string will end here. After that you will put dot format. What is this dot operator? We'll see in depth when we will be doing classes and objects. You will write dot and you will call one function which is called as format, and inside this format function you will write the variable name. You will write whichever variable name you want to use that. So this whatever variable name, whatever you have written here, this will actually be substituted in this place, whatever brackets you have used here. So you can just consider that this age, whatever value is there, will come here. From here it will take a jump and it will be basically shifted here. Okay, so these are the two ways to do it. It will give you same output. See here, your age is 34. You can use either of these two things. Now can someone tell me which is much simpler one from this? Which is simpler one? Hello?
The first one.
Yes,
First one
string.
sounds much more simpler one, right? So you can use that one. Okay, so very simple. This one is also very simple. Okay, you write whatever you want to there. Instead of this, wherever you want to use the variable name, right? Instead of that variable name, put these two brackets. Wherever you want. If you have two variable names, let's say after this you have another variable name, put another bracket here. Two variable names, here one variable value, here one variable value, and then after the string ends you should write dot format, and then write the variable names here. So if you want two variable names, put a comma and write another variable name. Maybe another variable name is age. So whatever the variable name is there, that is there. First variable name will be replaced here, second variable name value will be basically put here. That's it, as simple as that. Just keep it to one now. Whichever you want to use, you can use. Okay, now what I was telling is about implicit type conversion. Implicit type conversion. Okay, so if you have a data type which is of lower data type, can be converted to higher data type automatically by this one. Okay, by any programming language, it will automatically convert a lower data type to a higher data type. Okay, for example, let's say we have value is basically equals to 5 plus 2. Can this operation be done? Can this work first of all? No, it cannot work because plus sign whatever is there, right? Plus sign, plus operator, that means maths. Maths can be performed with two numbers or it can, or plus sign can be performed with two strings, but it cannot be performed with one string and one integer, one thing. But I am telling you that this also can be done. Okay, so there is some concepts in OOPS which is called as method operator overloading. So you can customize this thing. That plus sign, now it is what the plus sign is doing right now. It is basically adding two numbers. What again one thing plus sign is doing? It is adding two strings, right? These two things plus sign is doing. But you can customize that with the help of operator overloading, which we will learn in classes and objects, where you can customize it and say that you have to add even an integer and a floating point. You can add an integer and a string. You can customize this. Okay, so when we will be studying OOPS, that time we will see to do this, but now we will be not doing it, but I hope you understood. We will be doing this when we will be studying OOPS. What is implicit type conversion? Implicit type conversion is basically the conversion which is done by the compiler automatically. There is no programmer has to do it, because it is automatically done. How does it do it automatically? It will always convert a lower data type to a higher data type. Automatically it will do it. There is no need to tell also. It is automatically going to convert any lower data type to a higher data type. Okay, as simple as that. So implicit type conversion, explicit. So you will understand actually this concept much better in some statically typed programming language, because we will be typing all those this right. Data types, right? So here it's dynamic, but you will understand all those concepts in more better way in this one, statically typed programming language. Okay, so I hope you understood the concept. Explicit conversion we have already done. Can you someone point out where we have done explicit conversion? We have converted our data type, not automatically.
Like this one, integer input interview
Exactly.
string.
This one what you are seeing, right? This one we are doing it. This is actually an explicit conversion. Okay, so whatever you are doing here is whatever you are seeing here, right? So it is an explicit conversion, and whatever you see inside this input function, right? So it is an implicit conversion which the compiler is automatically doing it. Okay, so I hope you understood the data types conversion from one data type to another data type is called as implicit and explicit conversion. If you want to get to more about that, you learned about implicit, implicit implicit conversion, Python, and explicit conversion. Explicit conversion is one which basically the programmer will do it on his own. Okay, so these are Python automatically will convert one data type to another data type. This actually itself is called as the integer conversion. Okay, so promotes conversion of lower data type integer. So in some programming languages, integers and floating points are given same data allocation, but in some programming languages float is considered higher. Okay, so you just see. You can just browse all this kind of stuff and all. Python, what is the size of data that is allocated in Python and all those kind of stuff. I don't know it's there or here or no, but in some programming languages floats and integers are given. For example, in Java and all, float and integer is given almost same 4 bytes, but in some programming languages floats are given with 8 bytes. Okay, and integers are given with only 4 bytes. So that is also done. Okay, so some programming languages you will see this thing. Let's check for Python float size. 8 bytes. Oh, okay. So Python has 8 bytes for float. So again, some things depend upon size to size. Float size 4 bytes. So for some in Java the float data type has 4 bytes only size, but in Python it has 8 bytes for float. And let's see for integer size in Python. So to be safe, Python allocates a fixed number of bytes and it is almost around 32 bits. 32 bits means what? 4 bytes. Okay, so here I can say that in Python integer is allocated with 4 bytes, but float in Python is allocated with 8 bytes, but float in Java is allocated actually with 4 bytes. Okay, integer and float are almost same, but in Python float will be allocated with 8 bytes. So can someone tell me, is it possible to convert floating point number to integer or integer to floating point?
Integer to floating point.
Very simple, integer to floating point, because integer is of lower data type and float is a higher data type. So it is possible, but vice versa is not possible. It can be converted, I am saying again, you can do it, you can try and it will work, but if the value is exceeding, it will overflow. As we saw the two tanks, right, 8 liter tank and 4 liter tank, those 4 liters, if you want to put a 8 liters inside 4 liters, right, so however 8 inside, out of those 8 liters, 4 liters will be however filled, but remaining 4 liters what are there, right, those will be overflowed. That is what you should understand. Okay, so to do that you can just check here implicit type conversion. If you just try to see this one, let's do one thing, let's convert implicit type conversion, right? So let's do age is equal to, let's say 5.8 plus 4.4. okay, so now see here what it will do. This is actually a which data type? Float. This is actually a which data type? Integer. My question is, int plus float, what will be the answer? Which will be the data type? It will be float or integer? Int, we are adding a float plus integer. Float plus integer. Answer will be what? Come on everyone, fast. Prashant is saying float. Others? Integer, float, which it will be? Snehal? Float. Why it should be float? It's common sense. Because just think, float is higher data type. Okay, higher data type, and integer is smaller data type. So when you add this two, it will automatically put the answer back in a higher data type itself. Okay, it will not put it in a lower data type. Why? If it puts it in a lower data type, then it will overflow, right? We already saw that case, right? It will overflow. If the value increases, it might overflow. So always it is going to basically convert a smaller data type to a higher data type itself. So what Python will do is, it will automatically convert this integer to float. Automatically it will convert this integer to float, and what we get is float plus float, will the answer will be float. Although you are not doing this, although you have given here an integer value 5, although I repeat here, just do, this is actually the implicit conversion what happens. Okay, although you have given an integer value 5 here, Python sees this side, here he is telling float, here he has given integer. So what it will feel that it has to do a type conversion automatically on its own. So what it will do, it will convert this 5 to 5.0 automatically. You should not write this, there is no need to write. It will automatically convert it to 5.0 and it will give the answer in floating point, because we already know that we cannot do cross conversions. We cannot add a floating point, a string with floating point and all those kind of stuff. We can add int with int, float with float and all, right? So this conversion, actually I have written integer here, but here implicit conversion will take place and it will convert float. It will this will be automatically be converted to float, auto converted to float. Okay, and you will get the answer. Now it will do float plus float and it will give you the answer float. How to check it? Tell me.
Type.
Print age. Yes, type of age. Let's check type of age. So you will see float, you are seeing it float because it has done type conversion. This it has converted to float, and now it has added float plus float, that should become float. Answer should be float, and that is how you got this one. Is this clear? Is this simple? Pin drop silence means what?
Yes.
Fine. So that's it for today. We'll wind up with this itself. I hope you will go and revise all these concepts. Very important, very basic concepts, key concepts which you have learned. And tomorrow we'll see few examples. We'll write. I think tomorrow class will go again on writing programs itself, on using operators, maybe using lots of stuff. But when we'll study if conditions and all, right, all the stuff, we will solve lots of exercises. We'll try to create lots of names. Okay. So I want you all to build few programs, write some programs. So take it as an assignment if you want. Just take here assignment. Okay. So write a program to write a BMI calculator program. BMI calculator program. Write a BMI calculator program. BMI, go and search on the internet what is BMI. BMI stands for body mass index. BMI formula. I'll just take BMI calculator formula. MULA formula. Okay, so what it does is here BMI is basically equals to kg divided by meter square. Here it is saying that you can do it with the help of kg. So you should take the input from the user kg. In kg, what is his weight? You should ask him what is his weight. You can go and research what is BMI. It is actually used for calculating the calories and all. How much consumption of calories can help you maintain this weight, whatever you have right now. If you want to gain weight, then what is a maintenance calorie? It will help you to calculate a maintenance calorie. So if you want to gain weight or lose weight, based upon that maintenance calories, you can change your amount of calories you are consuming, the amount of food that you are taking in. Okay, so you should ask the user to enter his weight in kg. You should ask the user to enter his height in meters, and you should use this formula BMI is equal to weight divided by height square. I repeat, height square. Okay, so first of all height square should be calculated and then division should be done. Okay, so BMI is equal to weight, and I have already told you the highest precision which is there, which is brackets, right? Those circle brackets which are there, that you can use to tell Python that please solve this part first and then solve the other part of the expression. Okay, so use this formula and do a BMI calculator program. So your output should be something like this. Output should be something like this. It should look something like this. BMI value is basically equals to some random value, whatever the value you will get, right? That is basically your BMI value. Okay, this is how the output should come. This is one program. Assignment 1. Then let's try to play with it. What I can do is simple calculator, or let's say simple addition of two numbers, ADDI, addition of two numbers program. Take two numbers as an input from the user and print the sum. Okay, so output should look something like this. Sum is basically equals to whatever the value is there, that value. Okay, whatever the sum value you get. Take two numbers from the input from the user again one time, I am saying. Okay, so this is one thing. Then TypeConversion works. If we again, what we will do, what kind of program we will write? Simple one. So family names. Okay, so family names generator with age. So what all you should do for this, take input all your family members name and age. Okay, So you can just take input of family member 1, family member 2, family member 3, family member 4, all the input you should take of your names of your family members. Then you should also take the age of the family member, like you can take first of all age of family member 1, then age name of family member 1, age of family member 2, and name of family member 2. Okay, so you should take all these things kind of input and all, and then you should create the task is create a name by adding all the names of your family members, so let's see whose will be the most weirdest name that will come into picture of the, let's call it as a family name generator. Okay, so you should collect the names of all your family members, add those names of your family members and create one name. Let's see whose will be the most weird name that will come out of the family. Okay, and also add the age of all family members and calculate total age of family. Perfect. Will you solve this three? Any doubts are there in understanding this? You should add the names of ages of all the family members and calculate the total age of the family members and print that. Okay, so you should print two things here: print the total age of the family and print the weird name of the family. Anyone having any doubts in this? Okay, so we'll solve so many exercises in this 30 days that you will feel really very comfortable in Python. Anyone is giving you some kind of programs and all, you will be able to do it easily. Come on, you are going to just sit seeing the screen, or you are going to say something? Any doubts are there in the exercises which I have told?
Names of family members means full names or initial first letter?
That, like, you can take initial letter. I feel that's much more better. First letter, only the first letter, not your surname, because everyone's surname will be same in the family, right? So you can take only your first letter. For me, it can be Gautam, Sejal, my father name, my mother name. Just add those things, create a new name, print that name, and age also same thing. Any other doubt? Can you do this first of all? Do you have confidence that you have learned enough to do this?
Yes.
You understood about implicit conversion, explicit conversion, what is type conversion, who does it automatically, and when you will have to do it. You know when you will have to do it manually, when you need to convert a higher data type to a lower data type, right? At the time you have to do it manually. But that time also be careful whenever you are converting it. Please make sure that the size does not overflow. So I hope all these things are clear. What all we discussed today? We discussed about operators. We did a quick revision of yesterday, whatever we have learned. We learned about string concatenation, adding to strings. We learned about string. How do you access all the values of a string? Accessing of the string. We learned about some data types like primitive data types, non-primitive data types, the types of data types that are available. We learned about memory, how does actually memory allocation happens in the case of, we'll learn more into depth of this, that is what is stack memory, what is heap memory and all in the classes and objects class. But we understood all those kind of stuff. We learned about type conversions. We solved some exercises, lots of exercises which will make us feel comfortable about how do you take input from the program, how do you print, and all those kind of stuff and all. So I hope you must have understood, you must have enjoyed this class. So I'll see you back on Monday. So that's it for today. If you have any doubts, you can just ask and we can just have some discussion if you want to.
दादा
हाँ बोल.
ते इन्फोसिसचे एक्झाम आहे फेब्रुवारी मध्ये. तर इन्फिनिटी क्यू काहीतरी ह्याच्यावर आहे बघ. मग ते जरा सिलेबस बघून जरा असं ते पण सांगतोस का? मी
हां
पायथॉन
सांगतो
सिलेक्ट केलं त्यासाठी.
सांगतो की काय आहे सिलेबस.
पायथॉनच आहे पुरा.
चालते चालते मला सिलेबस पाठव की.
पूर्ण सिलेबस चेक केलं नाही कारण तिथं सिलेबसने ऍक्च्युली पूर्ण टॉपिक्सच दिलेत. त्याच्या
ओके
आतमध्ये पण सब टॉपिक्स आहेत.
मग मग मला मला ते सिलेबस एवढं पाठव.
ओके डन.
येस. आणि काय एनिथिंग एल्स. नेहा यू आर देअर. I did not hear
Yes.
any voice from you. So you understood what was being told today? Little bit heavy information even in yesterday's class, today's class. Today's was not that heavy I feel, but yesterday's class there was some heavy information about functions. समझलं नहीं हाँ?
हाँ समझ लो.
Fine. I hope you all will be able to do those exercise. Let's see whose will be the most weirdest name that will come out. Okay, don't take it personally. This is just for so that you all learn, you all have fun. Okay, so thank you so much. You can leave.
Thank you.
थँक्यू.
Thank you.